We got a road manager's report here. If there's any questions on it.
Sound's not working.
The sound's not working.
Are you gonna get some additional, are you gonna get some additional signs and speed bumps ahead?
Yeah, they actually came in and, they are working on getting those printed up, putting out. Yeah, putting those out.
Make a motion to approve the road manager report.
Motion by Supervisor, motion by Supervisor Train, second by Supervisor Carl. Discussion. Were you completed with your report?
I'm completed with just this.
Oh, wait, okay.
Yeah, just this.
Question, we have a lot of individuals who concerned about getting their road paved. And we have a milling machine, but we only have one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know the problem with getting two milling machines and two crews to be able. I know we can say maybe you know, come
Mr.
up
Williams,
with why, but
those roads that they're asking to be paved.
let me finish.
Okay.
I'm just not talking about those roads.
Yes.
I'm talking about all these gravel roads can be paved and we had two milling machines. The milling machines is not that expensive. We just need to get the crew to be able to train on and to be able to work. So we should have two milling machines going and we should have two crews going on getting these roads paved. This is really taking too long to get them done. People are complaining about them, but it's just absolutely taking too long. We need two milling machines and two crews. That's my, and I wish that we'd take that under consideration.
You know the milling machine costs $800,000.
Yeah, but how much road cost?
Yeah, so
Any road cost is at least $400,000 that is any distance.
I know, but I think Victor has some. I think he has a plan that's gonna help to expedite some things.
And Mr. Williams, to the milling machine, that's just the final phase in paving the road. It's a lot gotta go on before we get to that stage. Like, we gotta get those roads built and put in position to be paved. Then the milling machine comes in at the last step of the way. It doesn't take long to get a road milled and paved after the road is built. But they first have to be built, they have to be ditched. A lot goes into it, beforehand.
Yeah, I know we can always say yes, but we need to get these roads paved fast. That's all we need to do.
Well, I agree with that.
Got a motion and a second to approve road manager's report. Is there any other discussion? Supervisor Living.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like where it says signs made, the signs that I had for service, y'all didn't have to make those.
Yeah, we have, well, some of them we will, some of them won't. Some of them will come in printed and ready, and some of them, but we ordered everything that we had on that list. We ordered those, we waiting for those to hit the ground.
I was just wondering about the ones y'all had already put up.
Well, some of them were. What we did was on some, the road name signs, we can make those. We have those blanks already there. Some of the other signs, we ordered those. Some of the stop signs we did put up, we'll just restock what we have. So that's why. We're trying to expedite them as quick as we can, and we'll use some of what we already have and then put it back into stock. That's all.
And I was gonna ask you on I saw like on the Making Surface Road, you had like 5 on where you fixed the driveways.
They working on those now, just they doing the ramps on those.
That's what I'm gonna ask you while we do this at this time. The feathering is the reason we didn't approve payment last time. And are you satisfied with all? Is that what you call feathering, the aprons on the driveway? Is that what y'all?
Yeah, feathering aprons and then the high parts on the road, which they wasn't in the contract, but
So the county's responsible for all that?
The high point on the road.
yeah, we're gonna have to put that, gravel in on the side of it, yeah.
So what I was, is that you understand too, Mr. Engineer? That's always the county's responsibility. So if it's some pictures we're getting.
Not always, but in that particular project, we did not set up any shoulder material
Okay.
on that, so in this case, it fell on the county. It's a little easier when the road's not as rough as I was to start with.
Yeah.
But you have some places it's up an inch, some places it's up 3 inches.
So it's the county's responsibility on this one to bring gravel up to that big.
You can't feather the asphalt out, because if you feather it out to nothing, then the traffic just eats it back to that same edge in a different spot.
Yeah, and that was my other question, but on there, the company was just come back and fix those other driveways, but we're having to fix them. Is that right?
Say that again.
Like there's 5 or 6 driveways that they did not fix, but we had to come back out and fix them.
We didn't have any shoulder material in the job.
You know, these are driveways that we did, you know, that, like.
As far as I know, we've addressed every driveway that you brought to our attention. The last one was one that we, you know, you and I spoke, we literally didn't know it was a drive. So as far as I know, we've got them all.
Right, but the county came back and did, and had to do those last few. Is that, I mean, how many did?
Yeah, well, and there's a few more there. Actually, in the Sturgis area, they're working on a few more. They're gonna work those out this week.
That are
Cause I got-
driveways?
Yeah, just where you drive off the edge of the apron, at the edge of it, they're gonna put some more material around that edge to bring it level, to give it a smooth transition when they drive into the drive.
I guess that's my question, is that in your contract, or is that something we're supposed to finish?
Now, Apex contract is complete. They've done everything that we had in the contract.
That driveway?
I'm sorry.
Oh. No, that's what I was wondering. I thought they'd just come back and like apron out all the driveways to where they didn't have to drop off. So the county didn't have to come back out and do it.
The county has done some, but no, they put an asphalt apron at each drive that they utilize. Some are a little bit high. That's what the county's coming back to add the gravel material. That was not in Apex contract.
All right, when this is a question, and I've had some constituents of yours and mine for that matter, ask about this. When that apron is put in, some of those aprons are pretty high.
I was a paint can or something.
All right, you're there, you're getting the same questions I'm getting. Can we go in and slant, because the gravel, when we put the gravel down, when Victor goes in there and puts that gravel in, 6 months or less, and I'm sure that Miss Minnie's probably having some of the same issues, that gravel is being thrown out from under there, and I'm having cars, people call and say their cars are bottoming out. And some of your older cars, I'm not gonna suggest that it's all our fault or what have you, but is there a way to level that a little bit better so that some of the problems that they're running into 3 to 6 months after the fact, maybe we don't have to go back and redo it? I mean, and there may not be anything we can do.
There's not much you can do, but I'd like for you to just tell me where they are and what they are. Again, some of it's called this overlay was this thick in places, and some places it's.
You're exactly right. You're 100% correct in what you're saying.
But you can't really feather the asphalt down to what they have.
Because it'll break.
It'll break it
Okay.
back off, and then you've got a ragged.
Well, that's what I've told the bulk of the people. I said, I don't think that's possible what you're asking them to do. I said, all we really can do is throw the gravel down, but that gravel just doesn't stay. And that's 90% of what's going on. I've been to Miss Minnie several times, and some of the stuff she's talking about is, it's a lot of gravel that's just getting blown off. Is that fair to say, Miss Minnie?
That's correct.
And the reason I'm asking this publicly is because learning first big roadway I've had to pay the county supervisor. So once we approve this today, you know, the APAC's done. And
They have a warranty period of a
Okay.
year on their workmanship and material. But once you approve this, we're saying they're substantially complete, they're done.
you're saying it's like concrete where if you if you were to get a roll and roll over, it's gonna be like how you start busting and chipping, so you gotta
I'm
leave
saying
it.
it's not like concrete. If you wanted to run a concrete apron out and make it 5-inch thick and put the top of it flush with the driveway, that probably stays. But if you feather asphalt out to nothing,
Yeah.
then it's just gonna keep rattling back. So what they're required by the contractor to do is whatever thickness they're running at that apron, that's what they run.
So probably both of y'all are saying this job meets the requirements of the contract.
I am.
Can you say that, so?
Yeah, it's just,
Now,
it
in
just
the
doesn't have any
future,
shoulder material. That's the problem right there.
That's what
in
I.
the future, if we wanna add shoulder material and limestone and driveway aggregate or something like that, we'd be happy to do it. But in this case, we were kind of working,
Well, I don't mean to
Do a
sound like
number.
a complaint. I do want to also say that in Longview, which is where I know a lot of people there where I grew up, I've had several people compliment post office, I think it's post office drive through there, where y'all went in and put new culverts. So I don't want to sound like it's just all complaining. I've had compliments too, but unfortunately the complaints are the ones we end up here with stuff.
And to the board, I've actually been working on, we have a small machine that does side shoulder work, but it's a smaller machine. You know, it's pushed by a skid steer, and it's designed to do a small quantity of work. I've actually been in contact with someone trying to rent a shoulder machine, and in the process of looking for one, they don't rent one. They have a new one coming in that they possibly may be able to push into the rental fleet. He doesn't know whether they'll let him do that yet. He's also checking with another company that does have one to see if we could be able to rent that machine. I tried to get it ready. I worked on it all last week. I couldn't get it ready for the day because he didn't have it to me. So we're working to try to rent a shoulder machine so we can go in there. We got, I think, Sturgis Mason, Douglastown, William Road. We got about 3 roads, and we got some on Octop and some on your other road. I'm trying to think of the name of it, on South Montgomery. So we got a lot of shoulder work that needs to be done. We've in the process of getting the trailers ready to handle this. So if I can get a shoulder machine, we can make tighter work of it.
So my question, Mr. Pritchard,
yes,
how much increased cost would it add if we included shoulder dressings to our roads and apron transitions? And I'm thinking, would it be more economical to add that cost into a contract as opposed to Mr. Collins having to rent a shoulder machine, pull trailers off, pull manpower off, especially during our prime paving season? Do you know, and I know it'll be hard to give a linear estimation average, because like you said, some places is 6 inches, some places is 3 inches dressing, but I'm wondering, in the long run, would it be better? Because if you don't have, one, for safety reasons, somebody run off the edge of that shoulder and you cause an accident, 2, with breakage of our edges when we don't have them dressed up. Is there any way?
We're happy to add that material in a contract. Part of the reason this is coming up now, we've never had the benefit of doing an asphalt overlay on the road. And you've been doing chip seal, so everything
That's true.
right back on top of the old road bed. And in Sturgis Maven case, we had holes in the roads that are deeper than some of these shoulders you're talking about, I'll just say. But to your point, Sturgis Maven Road, probably $150,000 or something to come back and press every ramp, every driveway, shoulder material end to end. I'd say 150 or so to put it in the contract.
Okay, so
And it's
we need
easy
to
enough
decide.
to do. We do it on state aid jobs, but traditionally we hadn't been doing asphalt overlays. We've been doing chip seal.
Well, that'll give us a start. We can compare, put it in the contract as opposed to our county forces trying to do this. going and hauling material, tying up manpower, renting machines, stuff like that. I guess we need to decide what's gonna be the most economic.
We can start adding it to the estimate, you know, when we give you preliminary numbers to work. But again, historically, we've been working to a number as opposed to.
What does that mean, working to a number?
It means you're all telling me how much money you have to spend on the job, and I'm trying to figure out what you can do with it, how much you can
You're
get
getting the
done
most value for what?
for that amount of money.
So I want to say this too, though, 98% of people are extremely pleased, not all 100% will be, but they want to thank all board members in that area, because that has become a major thoroughfare road, and people are very pleased.
It's a pretty nice price.
Pretty nice project, but, yeah, I just want to say that. So both of y'all, when we get to that point, if both of y'all, in your professional opinion, are saying it's done to completion for the effects of the contract, I will approve it. So.
Yeah, that's, I was gonna say, one of the things about that, if we can, like, whenever I'm wanting to bid, you know, stuff out, and I think everybody probably feels the same way. If we're having it contracted out, I don't want our county people to have to go back in and fix, and, you know, having to go back in and do the shoulder stuff. That's why we really want to contract out, so they do other stuff, instead of having to come back in.
That's understood.
And so I'm just, you know, that's why I was like, well, that should, you know, now we're still back out there and, you know, people calling. And I'm not complaining, I'm just saying going forward, I just want you to know my
There's lots of
mindset.
bells and whistles. I mean, you could go to the point that you wanted to put rumble strips on the center line or on the edges. You know, there's just a lot of things you can do, and they all cost money.
Everybody,
Shoulder material to me is just a little
Yeah,
different
that's-
than rumble strips.
Well,
I have a question.
Maybe
Mr. Collins.
the next call you get.
Well, that's more of a want than a need, a rumble strip. But
Yeah.
Mr. Collins and, Mr. Quick. That material that they grind up, that looked like some suitable material to be used as a material to be able to put side the road to build up the side of the road.
Yeah.
But they hauled that material away. But that looked like real good material, they would just kind of push it to the side and we come back and.
Well, the asphalt that's in that material, they take back to the plant and they recycle in the mix. They actually get the petroleum and the hot liquid asphalt, and cook that back out, add it to the mix, and that goes into their bid price to reuse that material. If we were to tell them to leave it, they can leave it, stockpile it, you can pick it up and move it, but your price per ton on your asphalt probably goes up.
And
Okay, I was
to,
thinking that was our material.
you know, when they do that contract, they actually contracting it to use that material over again. And in defense of Clyde, I actually went out and, because I knew our machine would do better with the asphalt material, and that material cost just as much as doggone. It was high. So it's way more than what clay gravel would be to put it back in there. I think we looked at somewhere around $28 a ton just for that mill material if we purchased it from one of the, and APAC doesn't even, they don't even let you have it anymore.
we just need to sort of talk about, you know, per project,
Yes.
what's gonna be the most economical and most feasible.
It's easy enough solved. The next estimate, we'll just provide it on the overlay. We'll have that in the estimate and y'all can take it or not.
But as of what we got now, I am working in terms of hoping to find a machine to rent so we can make this a speedy process and get it out there, get it over with and done. We got everything in place other than that side machine, and I'm working on it.
are y'all paving them every day, or?
No, we're not. Well, this rain has put a kind of halt to it, but we actually getting ready to start that, and
We should have good weather next 6 weeks.
yeah, we should wait things to look. We're actually working on they're down in Dry Creek, making the transfer over to try to get the mill and the other end done. So they went onto that, and then when we get that done, we're gonna try to assist the concrete man in getting the boxes on the Maitland project done. We got the pipe in, we just need to get the boxes to join them together, and we can finish that project up.
Okay, but before we're all in favor of approving road manager's report. Motion approved. Okay, now. I was trying to make sure I didn't forget that.
Yes. All right, just a quick reference and, get it in our notes. This is a right of entry agreement. I just wanted to make it, bring it to your attention. It's for, down on, Pike Road. It's, Mr. Bush gave us permission to go in and clean out a drainage ditch that's causing problems with water that's holding back and flooding our road. We're gonna do a pipe change out on that project and then enter his property to clean out ditch and, dress it.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
One other thing, the other day, Mr. Trainer and Mr. talked at my shop.
Oh, yeah, Mr. President.
Okay, I was supposed to get ready and bring some figures to the board on what it would cost. They want to rent our asphalt truck and one employee in Knoxville County, for a day to spray primer. That is a figure of what, a cost figure of what, we've estimated as a cost figure to charge them. And I just wanted to let the board look at that and also if Will give us permission to, do that for them.
My ask a question on that insurance liability wise, Attorney Robertson, is it renting equipment to another county and transit back and forth and all that? I mean, insurance liability goes to Knoxville County whenever they're renting our equipment.
If we have insurance on it, it's gonna be on our insurance unless we have some kind of agreement with them or an MOU, which we can do an MOU to cover us on that end. But to my knowledge, I don't know if we have an MOU with Knoxville yet. Is that fair to
It's
say?
damage right now
Right.
with this approval and we'll be on the hook.
It's covered under, it'll be covered under our insurance unless we get an MOU with them for them to cover it under their insurance.
I guess I'd be okay with it as long as we transfer liability. I mean, I don't know typically why we would take that on.
And we've typically been, I mean, we've done this before in the past, so to give y'all a heads up.
Yeah, we have actually for the same supervisor that sent that
So I'm
truck.
okay with it other than the fact that I don't want to pay for somebody else's screw up, you know?
I guess my one question is, can you spare the equipment and the man?
Yeah, I can, it's not used until we're paving, and so whenever, I can send them a truck and a man down to do that.
This is a road striping machine.
No, this is that machine that sprays the asphalt down, like when we chip seal, but on this, they'll just be doing a primer. He'll go out and spray that primer down. Once he's finished, he cleans his truck up and head home.
Is that like what they do at water truck too?
This is out of the asphalt distributor truck. Yeah, we got a truck that we use to spray down the asphalt when we do chip seal, and it'll be the same truck.
This is a good deal for the county. I'll give you $500.
Well, that's
Okay, Knoxville County.
yeah.
We're sending a truck and a man to Knoxville
I know that,
County.
this is a good deal for the county. It seems like getting a whole day out of us on $500.
I reviewed this is a FEMA rate, and you know a FEMA rate doesn't come close to what a rate, and that's all I got to go by. That's all.
This is FEMA rate?
That's FEMA rate. That's FEMA rate for the truck.
Yeah, do you have a motion?
Yeah, make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Carver. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
I don't have anything else unless y'all.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
I'm sorry. Sorry to hold you up.
Okay, no problem. I'm here for the board.
Yeah, and I'll just talk about the email you sent Ms. Patty about the cover and access property on 25.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mike Larkins.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, we
What's
got
the
it.
address? Tell me the address.
His address was 17. Anyway, the cover is gonna be across the street from his current address.
Motion by Supervisor Little,
Second.
second by Supervisor Trainer to install culvert at said address. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Are you good to go, Mr. Thompson, on that address
The address is
last week
17
with Mr. Skinner?
1711.
Covers on. Like, yeah,
17.
yeah, that's, yeah, that's.
Yeah, we
that's-
got-
that's on that.
Yeah, we approved on that, we just need to get the work done.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes, sir.
That person also was asking for some trees to be removed, so I didn't know whether you looked into that or not. I told him you need to,
Yes,
he
I
need to talk to you.
yes. I
Well,
did.
actually, it ended up on, it being on your side of the road, and so, but I gotta go out and make sure, no, it's gonna be on there, yeah, it's gonna be on the wood. He lives on, his shop is on one side, and he has property on the other side. But still saying said, I gotta go out and find the right-of-way markers and make
Right.
sure they own us
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
If they own him, then he'll have to take them down, and then we'll put the cover in. Yeah. We can still get the cover in, even if the trees are not on us, we'll get it in up to the trees, and then they'll be responsible for it. I'll go out and find the right-of-way markers, or either measure it. I know that's a 50-foot roadway from the center line there, so we can pull a tape measure on it and figure that out.
It's in a picture, did you see the picture?
Yeah, it's 3 big pine trees right there.
I
But
said,
we'll-
"Well, that- put it behind the power line."
Yeah, and I think it's gonna be,
Oh,
on him, but I'll find out for sure. I'll run out there in a little while and pull a tape.
And I think, a person well above that is also asking for some trees too. A house that was remodeled in this same area, but you can look into.
Yeah, I'll look and see if they own us, and if they own us on our right of way, I don't have a problem. We'll get them down.
Southgate, I see is on the county engineer, plan, and I believe that, the county engineer did do plans on Southgate, but I'm understanding that you
Yeah,
did inform me
yeah,
that you were gonna.
All right.
pay
What we're
Southgate.
gonna do on that project, we're gonna do some overlay repair on some of it. We gotta do some work on the bridge. I got permission from the gentleman that will let us do access to his property. Only thing that we'll have to do is, and I'll bring that to the board attention at the next meeting. We will have to put some gravel on that thoroughfare that comes through from Williams Road to there to let the public access it, because right now it does need gravel. I'll get that approval at the next board meeting. I'll have the address and everything, but I did get permission from that gentleman. He will let us use that to go through there when the bridge is out. Because, and the reason being, is no other way for the people to get from back there than come through from that road and to Williams Road.
Right.
And that road does go through this gentleman's property. We have used it before, but it will need just a little bit of attention, and I'll get that approval from the board at the next meeting.
Is this the project that originally was gonna be contracted, that you were gonna contract out?
No, we talked about it, but
He had talked about it,
Southgate is gonna be done by the county.
Yeah, we'll,
Okay, I thought I remember a conversation that you
Yeah, it
were
was.
gonna contract this road.
yeah,
this
it was
project
in a
out.
Well,
conversation,
we
but
had a conversation about it, but it was concluded that, the county would actually do that particular road.
Mr. Victor, do we need a temporary easement across this man's property?
yes, I will have that also.
We'll talk about it and
Okay.
make sure we track with it.
All right,
Anything else on road manager?
No, thank you.
all right.
Thank you, Mr. Collins.
All right, and did you take a look at Lisa Lane?
Yeah, look, this line is great. I actually went out with a previous supervisor, he rode it with me, and, to tell you, compliment to y'all, and it was the
Well, that's
best
what-
y'all have ever done.
That's what we're trying to get them all that way.
Yes. And everybody out there, I've had 3 or 4 calls, and that's,
Right, thank you.
County engineer, Mr. Pritchard. Good morning. See, you brought plenty of backup with you today.
We got a little ground to cover And I'll offer a bit of apology for not loading your packets up, but
Williams, this is
this is pretty voluminous.
Give it to you.
Well, they're not the same.
This is just each district.
Thank you, sir.
Alright, what we're starting with this morning, y'all feel free to ask questions anytime. What you've got in front of you is the state aid bridge inspection reports for this past cycle. And that represents about roughly, and I'll stop. David Harrelson, engineer, has been with me for quite some time. He does most of these bridge inspections. Some of y'all met David, some of you hadn't. He's 40-hour, bid certified, updates, all that to do these reports. But these are the reports that actually go to state aid, for your state aid and your LSBP.
So these are just to set the stage, these are less than 20.
No, these are your 19-foot plus,
19
21
plus.
plus. These are your state aid bridges and structures.
Yeah, that's what I said, less than 20. These bridges are the ones that's, I said it backwards, but more than 20.
That's right.
20 feet,
All
okay.
right, so
Okay.
and the reason we did it this way this time, when we had some of these started caving in, somebody said, I hadn't seen the reports, didn't see this, didn't see that. This is the hard copy of those reports. Now, what we've tried to do on the first page in each of your districts is say, these are the ones, and Ben, I'm gonna lean on you a little bit. These are the ones that we see urgent need work like right now. Okay? Out of all this pile of stuff you got in front of you, these are items that we say need work now. Flip to the second page. Second page is some routine maintenance that needs to be done on these bridges. So all this data goes to state aid electronically. They'll have files, there's hundreds of pictures that go in there for every year. Question to y'all is, how do you want to see it? You want to see it in this hard copy? Wayne, you need something for the county. It's extremely voluminous. You want us to try to upload it to some kind of file. Carl, you chime in. It's a bunch of data right here.
I know we want to get him a copy, and I like this too. What would you like to pick up on that?
I'd like to see the information compiled into the GIS to where you can pull it at will, both in a digital format. You can also output this, so it's not just paper.
Right.
We can talk about how to get there.
Well, David can access state aid website, and he can go in and make changes and correct data and all that. What we probably the easiest thing is for the county to have access where you can see it, but not necessarily.
Well, and if there's a data source up at state aid, then we can likely find a contact up there and get a hold of it.
David, we hadn't talked about it, but we actually had state aid come down here back in February, and we linked our GIS system with theirs. So if that information is ended up in their GIS server as attributes, we can actually tie to it right now.
What state aid does is if you go on their website, their map, and pull it up, it links to it's a very abbreviated version of this.
Yeah.
It won't have the pictures.
Right.
It won't have the sketches. It'll just have a 2 or 3 page. Just it tells you the history, the lengths, the widths of the bridges, and then the status, like if it's fair, poor, good, very good, that kind of thing. So it's just.
So 3 to 4 years from now, it may take that long to do this, but you go out and capture all that raw information, and we have the technical capability to take what you capture, embed it in our GIS, link it to their website, so that website that you're talking about is a cut down version of all the data that they have,
Yeah.
that they just compile for the public. They can actually do a lot more. So we started the conversation on how to do this, but there's a lot of work that we can work on.
And I'll tell you that state aid is interested in this really came up, Marwell, when you questioned, well, it didn't look like that last year, you know, kind of thing. And we brought it to state aid's attention, hey, we're doing all this work, but the county's not really seeing it, you know? So that's what's prompting this whole conversation right here. So this was the first shot from us to try to do it by district and say, here's what we looked at this cycle, which is about half the bridges in the county. Mr. Joey, just happened, you had a bunch of them in your file. Next time, it may be a bunch of them in Ben's file, just depending on what cycle they're sitting on. But it's our effort to get them in front of you so you can say, hey, and you can call me or David back one if you look at Bridge 125 and say, what's up with this? He's probably got 25 little pictures in there somewhere to look at. And we also go back year after year after year after year. We can go back to 2017 or 2018 and show you what it looked like then. So
You're saying his is loaded because this is his year. Is it a 10-year cycle I gotta be expecting every year?
no, we're doing every bridge every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
And unless it's in
Unless
not perfect shape,
yeah.
they're set 12 months.
Yeah.
Some of them go on
Yeah.
closer cycle every year.
Like I was looking at this and like where it says urgent maintenance noted, then has bridge number, on there. Where do we have our bridges?
That's what I was gonna try to decipher this book from,
You
so
know,
I know where.
I can get you a map that's got every bridge.
I didn't know if there was a place on all these reports that had like an address.
There's a major map that shows the location, a bridge number for each one of them, and we can give you that by district too.
If you look at the top of the sheets, it should have,
name.
it's got about 8 or 9 zeros in it. That's just the way state aid
It does.
does it.
Hers is,
Yeah, and we can give you a district map if that makes it easy for you, 24 to 36, or give it to you in a PDF where you can say, that's where that bridge is.
Is there a table of contents? I'm looking at the first page, urgent maintenance needed, SA 53-108. Can I go in here now and see where that's at, see what location, what bridge?
Well, the bridges are in numerical order,
Okay,
but I
okay.
didn't put a separator in between each bridge.
The urgent stuff, Norvell, was just our shot at going back through all that to try to see what we see
Okay,
needs work. You know, and again, they should be in numerical order, so you.
that'll help. Yeah, okay.
alright. It starts off with a map, and that's a what you got.
But I'll get you an overall map of the county.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, so you know, I get what you're saying, but each bridge has got a bridge report, and the very next page is
It's got a map.
and then we're still on 051 all the way to a lot of work.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that y'all probably aren't interested in, but it's all in a great big database, and to this, so you understand too, this is being paid through state aid. And actually, this has been paid through by state aid through your state aid dollars, not your allocation, but what used to be BR funds or federal funds are being allocated to do these inspections now.
I think it's great.
So we have a contract that y'all execute for us with state aid, and it gets paid through them.
Clyde, do you have enough information to determine what the priority list should be for this board, and what, from my standpoint, what the liability, you know what I'm gonna be looking at in terms of.
The liability is hard to see. But that's the conversation we were actually having coming over. Each one of you's got a list in front of you about urgent. If you ask,
That's what made my ears
if
perk
you
up.
ask me all 5 of them right now, which one needs work first, we'd have to sit down and look.
If we just
Okay?
put it in mind.
Now,
But all 5 need addressing first.
whatever you got on that front sheet is something we feel like needs to be addressed pretty quickly. Now, I'm gonna step a little further in my conversation. Maybe child is with me here, just put it.
When we talk about funding, I know you mentioned that state aid will pay for the inspection, but how are we gonna pay to get the work done?
That's where I'm headed with part of this now, Mr. Joe, is that under your state aid bridge program now, which we understand is going to have money, I'll show you a status of bond right now. Y'all are upside down because we've been advancing work in there, but you're gonna have money. And in the conversation with Harry Lee James this morning, what we're proposing to you is these that are on the system, state aid or LSBP, let us grab 4, 5, 6 of these that need work, put them in one SABP project, like we used to do reseals when we were resealing 10 roads in the county. Let us gather all these things up, put them on the SABP project, let them to contract, one contractor gets them all and just starts methodically going through and fixing these bridges. Now, I don't have that list for you yet, but I'm saying that that's the direction I would go with.
I think that would be a good approach.
And
We'll probably get a better
price. It might be 4 in Mr. Joe's and 1 in Patty's and 2 in Men's, but we can get them all in a job. They've all got piling, they've all got concrete, they've all got decks or rails, and put that together in a project and fund it through your SABP program if they're eligible for that.
And I mean, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around it, because like, you know, I got 3 bridges now. And so I just want to make sure that when they go look at all these, that they are the worst bridges. Like, they're not just gonna come in while we got 5 under construction and then shut down 3 more.
It can happen.
Well, that's my understanding. What do we need to do to avoid that?
Well, and that's what we're trying to do here, but I will tell you that all this pile of data is going to state aid, and it's going to be reviewed by the feds, and they're going to code it and come back and put a rating on these bridges.
Feds make that rating?
Feds in with the state, but the feds are going to make that rating. So there's chances where we say guardrail don't matter. If we want a bridge we can get across, they say it's got to have guardrail, and all of a sudden it's a problem. So that can happen. We're trying to avoid that now by putting these together with this. There's an opportunity. 2 things are going to happen. They're going to review all this big pile of stuff and come back and tell David, why did you code this, or why did you do that, or why does this look this way? And quite honestly, some guy's got about 6 months of experience is going to argue with somebody that's been looking at bridges for 20 years. You know, we work through that. So there'll be some changes in the format, and then they're going to rate it.
So this information will go to state aid will go through all of this information and rate the bridges. Then they'll send a recommendation back, this 111 bridge is the worst, and these are the
that's
first
where
5.
your postings come from. 2 things happen after that. Postings will stay like they are, or they'll find one of these in here and they'll say this bridge has now got to be posted for X tons. Or you'll get that letter that you've gotten from time to time that says, close this bridge. And we're trying to find those ahead of time.
So time frame. If we've got some bridges in pretty urgent shape, how long will this process take to get a rating on these bridges? I mean, we don't want to, if we got some bad bridges.
I'm saying now.
Okay.
If you wanted to just say, everybody wants their urgent fixed, we go back to the office, we figure out what's on LSBP, what's on state aid, and we start putting a project, SABP project together for you to work on those bridges.
Okay.
We don't have to necessarily wait on coding. And we're saying state aid, but this is NBIS, National Bridge Inventory System. So the feds end up making the final call.
What Clyde is advocating for here is it mirrors exactly what the team at OSART that came up in February said. They said one of the biggest challenges to get a project identified and get it paid is consistency and grouping. They said they don't get groupings from counties. And so because they don't, things change from this year to next year, and what happens is you have a priority right now, and then there's a different priority the next year, a different priority the next year, and by the time it gets up to the feds, they just ignore everything that you are saying because you're different every year, and they highly recommended that if you can do these types of groupings like he's advocating for, that they think that they can help grease the money skids and be much more consistent year over year over year.
It's a ton of data. And that's, you know, that's part of the reason we wanted to print this, for y'all. Say it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of data, and it's a lot of stuff to get your arms around. And in fairness, some of it's dynamic. If you got a bridge that's rated okay right now, and you get a monsoon and a 5-inch flood and it blows the head wall out, then it can change pretty quick. So I'll leave that with you for now. What I'd like for you to do is give us some feedback. Here's how we'd like to see this, or here's what I've had in trouble finding here. You know, a quicker way to get to what you want to see. We've got it. We just need to get it in a format that's really easy for y'all to see and give us some direction.
Appreciate it.
On the same note, this is just an example, and these are all the same again. If you'll pass them around, leave me one of them. I think I got 8 copies. These go with it.
While you're passing that around, I appreciate this information on the bridge. I know we've had a couple spirited conversations about the bridges, but I think, you know, sometimes to get us to the points like this, but I appreciate it.
Look, we want to do what y'all need to do, and we want to do what's best for the county. And it did, Mardell, I'll say again, it did reveal kind of a statewide glitch where all this work's getting done, but it wasn't getting done.
Yeah.
All right, so what I got in front of you now, charged us with.
I think he just gave us this to review and
Something
then get
different
back.
from what you just did with the bridges?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need,
Do we need to take any action or just?
No, not really.
I don't think we need to. I think, okay, all right.
I'm just trying to get that in front of you, trying to get some feedback. The immediate feedback we would need is, hey, I want to take my urgent bridges, or I want to take anything that's state aid eligible and put it in a job.
Okay.
And formerly, we couldn't just go repair bridges. We were generally in a replacement mode. Now with SAP, we can repair bridges, and that's a big deal.
But is this time sensitive in the sense that we need to be the first owned, maybe the first to get funded, the last owned, maybe the last to get funded? Is that a fair?
I think it's a fair question, Rob, because I think what you're gonna see is another 81 counties take this same approach, and the quicker we can get in, the quicker we'll be. I mean,
Would it be fair to say that this board feels like this is a good idea for him to go ahead and get this on the front end as quickly as we can?
I think so.
I'm just
And
nervous.
when we come back, I can't quote to you what each one of these are, but we may come back and say those funds aren't eligible for this one, or that one, or this one. Maybe something we have to do on a separate contract that we can't afford.
But that's part of the process that
That's
we're going
part
to
of the
figure out.
process of going through is delineating and finding.
But if we don't start the process, we're gonna be behind in the process, is that right?
I'm saying there's probably 81 more counties gonna try to do the same thing, and state aid can only look at so much.
So that's my concern, and I want my people to get what we get.
Yeah, I think we need to get a, go ahead and break it one down, what y'all think?
I think so. I'm in favor. Do we need, you gonna group?
I'll need a motion just
Okay.
to create a SAP project for all urgent bridges.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Carver. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank y'all. Second, I've got, y'all charged us with starting to look at the smaller structures, pipes and culverts. This is a real abbreviated list of what y'all saw in the big books. This is our guy going out, finding these things, looking at them, taking pictures and saying, hey, this needs work now, or this needs work later. This is just a sample. We've looked at about 100 out of 250 right now. And we've got 8, 10, 12 pictures on each one of these pipes. I just gave you a couple to look at. The system on this goes from 1 to 10, with 1 being awful, send somebody now, 10 being, I don't see anything to worry about. too. And again, this is just a sample, this is not all of them, but same deal. I want you to look at this format and tell me is this the way that you want it? And Carl, I think y'all are already collaborating on these.
Yeah, I think the next step for us is just to work with you to be able to get that much information into the GIS system.
Right.
We have a good bit of it, but we don't have all of it.
Yeah. And we're about halfway through looking at them. We're around 250 of these, and we're about 100 or so now that we've checked. But if you see a 2 or a 3 on here, it's a red flag, and we need to be working.
So the criteria for the working would be what? All the material is lost off the end of it, the bottom is rusted out.
We think there's an imminent cave-in about to happen, or somebody's gonna run off in it and get hurt. I actually called Supervisor Williams about putting up some barricades the other day that he jumped on down there. That was Skinner Road, down on Skinner. So, I mean, it was enough that we just picked up the phone and called, hey, you need to go look at this now.
Well, see, I had one barricaded, well, not barricaded, but on West Reed Road in that deep curve, all the material washed off and it sloped off right up to the travel lane. So if somebody run off of it, but we've got it flagged.
Yeah.
I don't know if you checked that one, it was that double barrel. We talked about possibly shifting that road a little bit one time when we were, but
I can't tell you right now.
but it's one that's worth going and looking at if you had.
This matches up to that map that you provided us
Correct.
several meetings ago.
Correct. This was where we first went out and said we're gonna find them.
Right.
Now we're going back to look at them. This is the format I was saying, I'm gonna give you the data back. And whether you want us to do something with it, or Big Screw do something with it, this is our effort to try to find them before they happen.
Right.
Okay?
They're non-district one, because I didn't tell you to look at those, or they're just not?
No, they're just at random. And again, we've got more. I just brought this as a
There's about
sample.
32 cost range of giving them.
Look at the map and tell where the location of these.
Yes, yes, and I can do the same thing. I can give you a district map with, that's one thing, good point, Supervisor. If it's easier for y'all, these are not, you got the district number over here.
Right.
We can bust them up by district and just give them Ben all years and Patty all years and Joe all years and a map to go with it. I would suspect that's what you want to see. Right now, we're just riding and looking, and if we got 2 hours left in the day and something's closed, we're going to look.
At some point, we probably ought to have a working session about how to see all this whenever you want to see it. We have a tremendous amount that you can have anytime you want to see it, but you may not know how to get to that information.
And I was like, is there any way, like, I know, like, if you get the map, you can look on the map and see it, but like, for quick reference, is there any way to like, put in there and just put like the road name, at least we know, where the road, cause you got where we can find it on the map, but if you don't have the map with you.
That's the kind of feedback I need as to how you want us to lay it out there for you.
I want to interrupt real quick. I think that's what the county's been working on there for 35 years. We're out with an iPad, we pull up and there's a marker and there's the cross drain, there's the rating, there's the.
Yeah, sometimes it may be in some of the roads.
That's what we're trying to get to.
The information they're collecting is not going into that system in real time.
Yeah.
They're working in AutoCAD.
Something easy.
We're working in
Something
GIS.
just like
They've
that.
got to
Some
find
of the paperwork.
it. So when they do it, or if you tag something, it's in the map, you may end up going into their system, maybe get a look at this.
I think we're all gonna need to get laptops. We're talking about real-time data when you're riding down the road, there's an identified marker and we're riding with you, and we can, y'all or anybody can get it. Open up between that and Civic Plus, because how we're gonna run our meetings on that.
Yeah, and Carl, right, we probably, rather than just set up and eat a whole board meeting, we probably need a work session to go through all that. And we've got a tech out there looking, if you want an address, we gotta figure out how he's gonna pull the address. If it doesn't have an address, how we're gonna list it. It's a lot of stuff to work through, we're a lot further down the road and the bridge than we used to.
So there are 19 feet and less bridges on here too, right?
Correct,
Okay.
and box culverts.
And box culverts,
And
okay.
pipes, and cross drains, and side drains, and just whatever we're seeing.
So if it's a 1, 2, 3, we can
Or
get off.
just everything.
It's a 1, 2, or 3, If it's a one, I probably already called you. If it's a 2 or 3,
Right.
somebody needs to be looking at it.
Cross drain, box door, less than 19 feet, yeah.
Okay?
I was
Yeah,
just
there's
noticing
lots of
that.
photos to go with it, but I wasn't gonna try to print all that stuff for every bridge.
What's sticking out to you right here as being absolutely hard? Just a slight, you're saying cave on top 145 is, hot caving?
Yeah, and there'll be more pictures, but it's gonna be a couple things. The top of that pipe's rusted out, it's caving in.
And on 183, it's saying,
On 183,
I noticed that there's not any in District 3 on this list. And I know we've got 1 or 2, but I also gotta say, that's a big part of the reason is because Mark Vaughn over the years have pushed me and made sure identified
yeah,
these big rusting at the bottom, we've got them replaced.
well,
So that's a big reason. we
two
have-
things with that, no, we either ain't got there yet, or I just didn't print it all out.
Well, no, we replaced over the years quite a few of those big
You
huge
know, like I
rusted
said,
out.
there's 150 that we ain't even seen yet.
Yeah.
And we haven't gone out by them by district. We
Yeah,
just been
well-
riding them if we come to.
Again, there's gonna be some, but there's a lot that you won't see because they've been done.
So hopefully they're grayed out.
Alright, the next item I had for y'all is at the request of Supervisor Williams. We've got a project
But I know, but I'm telling you, man, so yours all, we've got a lot that's been replaced. A lot. We just replaced 7 or 8 on Douglas Town.
I'm okay. Next thing I had for you, we've got a project put together, overlay, base repair, leveling and striping on Blackjack Road. Mr. Willis Owen, Mr. Joe lives on that road. I told him if it come apart, he's gonna have to deal with you. But he'll be in and out every day. This goes, and this is for an overlay similar to what we did on Williams Road. And I'll talk, and there's a cost estimate on that. Today, if y'all wanna do this job, we need
Discussion. Yeah, that's what we say. Motion by Supervisor Trainer. Are you saying that this money is gonna come out of state aid?
I'm not
Money.
saying that, where is it coming from?
Because I mean,
This is not state aid, this is county road. County road. This is the road that's, in my district, Supervisor Training. So I like to have the opportunity to, get with, the county administrator and add up some dollars and see where we're going and, how we're gonna be able to take it. This is a good project. This is a project that I asked to be done, and I think it's a worthwhile project. Blackjack Road is heavily traveled, and it's something that needs to be done. So, but I would like a little time to table that. Mr. President, that's okay?
Do we need to add shoulders to this thing?
Until we,
I better go look.
Also,
Yeah.
Richard, while you're out there, I looked at a bridge that an accident occurred, and it kind of ripped it apart where we can't put guardrails back on it. I looked at it on Thursday of last week. I wish you would take a look at it. We may have to do a bridge repair on that thing.
Where is that?
It's on Blackjack Road.
is that bridge 19 and above for state aid qualification, for state aid funding?
I believe that bridge is gonna be a 19 foot. Cause it only had one set of guardrails on it.
Yeah, 19.
So, but it actually, we need to actually take a look at it. They ripped it. It actually, the steel come out the top of it. It hit it so hard. The main steel rods in the top of it, it ripped them out. So that's one thing. We need to take a look at that right away. We can't put the guardrails back on it because it won't hold them anymore.
so this blackjack quote you just gave me. Supervisor Williams.
Yes, I would table, motion to table to further discussion, to further review of funding availability. But that bridge really needs to be worked on.
It's gonna have to be something else to it, so we can get the guardrails back on.
I need a second to motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer, to table the quote given by county engineer.
To review the fund.
Any other discussion? Little discussion. Blackjack Road is strictly a county road, it's not state aid road. Okay. Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
That said, we got a project basically ready to go when y'all say that.
Okay.
How much they cost to repair that?
Normally, you've got an engineering estimate in there, I think it was 10%. And normally we're charging 60% pre-bid. 60% of the 10%.
And how many hours would that take to do that? That's something we gotta pay for that.
Yeah.
Now or once the project?
We bid 60% of the 10%, and we got the plans ready to bid.
How much does that cost to do?
That goes, who's got a copy of this? 60% of 112, you're roughly $60,000. We didn't get that, so
To get that together?
Yep.
So we got 50,000 to spare that, who's gonna pay for that?
This price is money.
It all goes in
Maybe we don't pay now. We can pay that every job.
What's that question now?
For him to repair this is roughly $50,000, right?
To repair.
No, it goes with the project.
But we don't owe you anything for repairing that?
Yeah,
but
60% of the 10%.
Yeah, it's already in there.
60% of the
It's in the
10%.
estimate, it's already in the estimate.
What we owe him is that we need to go ahead and do what we told him that we was gonna do. That's why he did work.
We have a board order to approve that.
I couldn't get no say.
No, we don't.
I'm just saying, like,
The board didn't approve it.
I'm saying, that's what I'm trying to understand, if we didn't approve it, if I started getting a bunch of roads looked at, then I wouldn't expect the full board to pay that. I mean, if we owe you for that, then,
Then it's technically should have been a board.
because two board members asked for that work to be done, we all gotta pay you now? I mean, that's.
No.
You don't have to pay that.
No.
That is a county road in District 5. You really don't have any concern about this.
Well,
This gotta be paid out of District 5 funds.
Right.
okay.
And District 5 gotta make sure,
To have
District
it,
5 gotta add up its dollars and make sure that it still got funds to do other roads that some of the other people are asking for too. So this is District 5 concern.
Basically, Supervisor Carver, if you wanna get Mr. Pritchard to go out and look at one of your roads, and he'll go out and look at it and write you up a quote and do some plans, but with the understanding that that will come out of that district's monies.
Yeah.
And
This-
in most instances, I'm gonna say, Ben, I need a board order.
Yeah.
just make sure that works, I didn't know exactly how.
So it's, at this point, it's $67,000 for the preparation of this that's gonna come out of District 5, whether it's done or not.
So if I wanted to utilize him.
Now, if we decide to do it,
It'll go
then
towards the one.
it'll already be,
It'll already
Paid for.
be deducted. If you decide to do it, there's no additional fee for the plans and the bidding and you pay for that. And then after the job is built, completed, I come back and say.
Another 40%.
That's my other 40%. That covers what we do during the construction phase. Inspection, testing, reviewing the payouts and all that kind of
Do
stuff.
you have any roads in District 1 or any district that have already had these reports ready sitting on go?
No. I've got some estimates I did for you that were just estimates. That when y'all was trying to program, like self-free, new light, couple, but
Nothing hanging out?
nothing hanging out bill-wise.
From John or anything from Supervisor Drummond is nothing?
Correct. I mean, we've got a little time and estimate, we historically just set on those, unless you would like Supervisor Brown, have to go with the 50 roads. And those ended up in a project we're working on now.
Yeah, and I want to say to you gentlemen here, thank you both of y'all for this work. This is exactly what I need. And then we'll get together with the IT manager and try to make it more user-friendly for us, but this is excellent work. Thank you.
They work really hard on it.
Yeah, I know they do. That's a lot of work.
And so Blackjack has been tabled, what I understand.
Yes, and tell you, Tim is, what your engineering cost is what percent of county roads and what percent of state aid?
I've historically worked at 10% for the county. State aid fee is set by the state of Mississippi at 12%.
And this one is set at
10%. And the reason is this is, I mean, it's very candidly, we don't have as many hoops, bells, and whistles to go through and tie up time at state aid with them reviewing and approving and da 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 da. It's just a little easier for us to administer going through the county.
Two questions in this, all this conversation, I didn't know exactly the parameters, what y'all talking about. The bridge, you mentioned, I heard 19, 20, 21, explain the line, is 20 foot and less, or 21 foot and over state aid?
No, 21 foot and over is going into this national system.
Okay.
Anything less than 21 feet, the feds and the state don't call it bridge.
It's actually 20
That's
foot.
this thing.
20 feet, yeah.
Yeah, so, and that's where this small structure in the total,
This is,
that's what that,
Yeah, okay, I just did the 21 foot the line,
just
20
be,
foot. 20 foot.
20 foot is the line.
yeah, and what you've ended up with, Ben, is through the years, when they first started making 19-foot bridge spans, counties jumped out and started putting in a bunch of 19-foot single span bridges. But those are not getting looked at under this big system.
Second thing, the way to get these priorities in our binders, everybody's got priorities list, you know, the urgent maintenance summaries. You think it'd be best, I'm trying to understand for the feds, we pass through up to the feds and the national system and come down, whatever they prioritize becomes consistent that we ask each and every year for these exact lists. Do you think it's best to, if you pick our list, kind of send it up, or is it best for the feds to pick it?
Well, we just did board order
Right.
for Mr. Pritchett to do these urgent ones.
And I'm asking, do you think it's better to go from the down up or from the top down? Who do you think
The
first?
theory is good,
Theory.
but in truth, if you take the path that I'm putting you on, you're gonna have most of these fixed before you ever get feedback from the feds. The time it comes back and says thou shalt, y'all will have it done.
Right.
Yeah, you know, it's gonna be a quicker path, and if you'll remember, some of the older tenured supervisors will, back in the ERBR days, when that money hit, y'all had already repaired 5 bridges for county money before ERBR hit. So that was a big step forward. Put us way ahead of the game.
Hi, would it be fair to say that bridges are really similar to sewer and structures that are not sexy? Nobody calls you about a bridge unless it is closed. The minute it's closed, becomes the most important thing under the sun. Yeah, it's the road out in front of their houses when people start, I mean, that's the things I hear. So what you're attempting to do is get ahead of that mudslide that ends up happening
To the
when it's
county's
closed.
credit, and I hope this hits the well needed, y'all are making a good faith effort to be proactive and fix this stuff before
Thank
it
you.
happens.
That's the point I was trying to make.
And it's the best effort I've seen all the time. I'm not only doing it for y'all, but in my career. That somebody's out trying to find this stuff early on and get it addressed.
Just for clarification, they're on the one bridge on Blackjack that county will repair. The county will do the repair work on.
I don't know if we can, that's really not, they need to take a look at it. Clyde needs to take a look at it. I don't know whether we
State
can.
aid responsibility.
Well, I mean, it may have to go on the contract, is what I'm saying. I don't know if we can,
We're gonna speed it up.
it may have to have that section taken out and put, and another section put in. It's a precast bridge, and it maybe have to be unbolted, and that section, good is on the outside, if that have to take place. It may have to be slid off on another piece, put in there and bolted back Hold it back in there. It tore the whole guardrail containment loose at the top, where it ripped the steel out of the concrete. And I'm talking about a 1 inch better bar steel.
That is, that man right there needs to look at it.
Yeah, that's something that the county has been repairing and doing, and been doing and saying.
No, not making that repair, not like that.
This
You don't have a crane to do it with.
I'm just saying that man needs to look at
Yeah,
it.
he needs to take a look at it.
Right, take a look at it.
All right.
While we're talking about the one on Sun Creek, where are we at on that?
Program went to state aid to program it, even though we don't technically have SAVP money now. That's more money we know is coming. That program was approved by state aid, and it's gone up to MDOT and the board for.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a project. It's gonna be a SAVP project.
And the survey crew has shot it.
Yeah, we've done some survey work, field work. We're actually starting plans in advance. We just don't have a project number assigned to it yet. Okay, try the next. Y'all just talked about Southgate. Same deal. We got set plans ready. But I'm here, maybe we'll table this one and wait.
And wait and see, what we're gonna, when the repair work is gonna be done.
And here's the estimate that we have on, this one is base repair level and some TBST work. And I'll send them down both sides. That's our estimate on Southgate. Same deal, if the board wishes, we're ready to put that out there. It sounds like maybe it needs to wait on the bridge work.
Well, I thought we just determined that he was gonna let the county do
Yeah, we talked about
Southgate
that and,
instead of, that's why I asked the question earlier. We had talked about that project being contracted, and he had instructed you to get this together and put it out for bid.
And I've got it ready.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we understand that, we're gonna charge, so regardless of whether you do the work or not, there's still gonna be a.
Some of the best work I ever did never got paid. Me too. Working on Chris Moore, prior Moore Architect, some of the best work I ever did. All right, so we tabling that one, let the board with it.
Yeah,
I reckon.
well, not that we are paving the project, the county has agreed that they will complete that project, and that would not be your job to complete. Mr. Collins is working on it now, getting it ready to be paid.
Mr. Collins,
Yes, sir.
where does this project fall into the rotation of the project that you've already got lined now? Because this was not one that was supposed to be, this was supposed to be contracted, so where does this one fall in?
It will fall in when we start grinding and resealing, it will fall into the line with those.
Okay.
Yes.
It would never to be contracted.
That's,
We asked them to do.
we got a set of plans from the
Yeah,
engineer.
we got a set of plans.
Yeah.
But that's a District 5 concern.
That's
District
it.
5 gonna have to pay for it, so.
Well, that's it. I was just, my only concern is that it not get moved ahead of some projects that's already been allocated to do. That's my only concern. But District 5 will pay for it, and we all fine with that.
But District 5 had.
Need a motion.
We haven't got any projects, no.
You gonna take motion to table?
Motion to table, yes.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Just,
Motion passes unanimously.
Just to let you know, that District 5 has not got any work done by the county, as far as pavement is concerned. So we would like the county to go ahead and move forward with those.
What's next on the agenda?
I think we can wrap this up pretty quick now, just a couple things. District 2 roads, we're putting those plans together now. And we've talked about a few times, Ben, you like some more Artesia, this and that, about doing some tree removal and fence replacement to try to take these cups out of the road, these dips. What I'm suggesting is put that in the contract, but that's gonna require y'all to get an off-site agreement to do. And if you have issues not getting that, then we'll just have to take it back out. But I do have projects that we're setting up now that involve tree removal, fence replacement and stuff out on the right of way.
Are you saying that in the form of motion that's needed?
I'm just wanting direction. Is that how you want to do it? Because it's gonna require you, it's gonna necessarily require us to work a little bit on somebody's property. And that's gonna be easements that y'all have to go out and secure and get. And if you can't get those, I can just strike it from the job of the contract, be a deducted change order, say, well, we can't do that 500 feet. We can't do that on those fences. But it's better to have it on the job in the front end and get it priced than it is try to add it to the job on the back end.
You're saying that's adding to our work, we're gonna have to do one to do that, get all the teachers for easements.
You'll have to secure the
So
easement.
if everybody hadn't read New Light, it's getting to a point now, I mean, even talking to Jackson, people going, what is going on? You're riding down the road and if you're either gonna go into oncoming traffic or, I want all of y'all, I've said it about 7 or 8 times in this board meeting, to stay in your lane and go to New Light to the surface change and come back. It's getting to where it's violently, I'm gonna pull people off the road,
So
so.
make a motion, we allow the engineer to get a set of plans for reconstruction in Light Road.
Second.
It's been motioned by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Carver, that we allow our county engineer to develop a set of plans for the, what's the plan?
Reconstruction, New Light Road.
Reconstruction of New Light Road.
Rehabilitation.
I like to also making a,
You like for
I believe it is. I have to double check.
Plan for construction. Reconstruction.
I'd also like to make a friendly amendment to add, Maven Bell to that while you're doing it.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Carver to add an amendment to include New Light and Maven Bell. All in favor? The motion passes unanimously.
Let me ask a question. Something different. Those state aid projects, we would start putting this together as a state aid project. That's what you want to do.
As a state aid project is part of the motion.
I'm just saying, there's a difference in the engineering if you do for a state aid project as opposed to a county project. These are both state aid roads, approved as
So
a
this
state aid project.
amended as state aid, correct?
Yeah, I would say so, because
Yeah.
maybe some
Well, it's actually one of my notes here, and we're jumping my little agenda a little bit, but according to Haley James and State Aid, and I've had this conversation with a few of you, in this 2024 board term, the feeling in State Aid is you're gonna realize that as a minimum, another $777,000 state aid road money. That's as a minimum. Down about 283,000. So add 777, and you roughly got $1 million in state aid road money right now. Now, follow up, Rob, you correct me, you've been in this loop as heavy as I have. Yeah, man. But in your upcoming board term, your state aid money is gonna double from what y'all are saying. It's gonna double
From the state legislature?
from the state aid side in the next board term.
Where this is really coming from?
Yeah.
Some of the project money that we've been getting in the past, we ain't got a huge amount of it, will start being dried up because of what we're doing with the state aid program. A lot of that money is being put into this. So I just want to give y'all a heads up on how we go about planning some of this. That doesn't mean we won't ever get any project money. It just means that for the foreseeable future, it's being redirected into the state aid project. So that there were a lot of people that felt like they weren't getting any money, and frankly, up until about 4 years ago, we weren't.
This is what's been on the paper the last few. So this is saying if people who haven't had advantageous for elected officials as county supervisors to try to solicit funds through state aid versus other avenues?
No, I still think we need to be playing the other ball game too. However, it dries up. Money
Dried up.
money at a state level for projects, for project money is going to start drying up. We didn't get any project money this year, but that was partly political, but that was also partly because we're changing gears as to how we're going to approach these things. Also, keep this in mind, Mississippi is our especially for Octavia County, our growth pattern has really put a target on us to be able to get some of this state aid money and have a good engineer that goes after this money. So getting ahead of the ball game is what he's attempting to do on some of this, so that we can be in the project money for Harry Lee and the rest of them to be able to push forward with this. So y'all are doing the right thing, and I'm not trying to redirect you. I just wanted to give you some background as to why we may not get any project money for a couple of years. The whole intent is to redirect that money back into these types of projects, so that it's not, so that you're getting a little bit more fairness in how this is being approached. Maybe the best way to say it.
Follow up, and we talked about on these other jobs. You were a little over 3 million. You were a little over 3 million to overlay them. One of them's 8.5 miles. One of them's 7.9 miles. So yeah, $1 million is great, but it don't get you all the way there.
It's still peanuts.
Yeah, because you've given me estimates on, you know, 25 and, you know.
And that's not to say we want chip seal or reseal the road again. I'm just saying it sounds great, but it don't get you all the way there. Not close. So we'll start just an update on some of the rest of them. Morgantown Bridge, you sent email. I think we're Labor Day finishing that job.
How's that been off? Like I know, like your contract should be other one, something.
Well, depending on how hard a stand you want to take. Phillips bid the job as if it were a state aid job. A state aid job allows for rain days, water's too high, you know, site's too wet to work early on, which Phillips experienced on this job. That was their mistake. It was a calendar date contract. So you could take a hard line and try to enforce it. They're gonna turn around and say, that ain't the way we understood it. I wouldn't recommend that. They're making a good faith effort to build a bridge now. They got all hands on the deck. We're gonna hang the 100-foot beams this week, which was the big deal on this bridge. So I would suggest just let her ride.
Are we gonna have a ribbon cutting on that bridge?
I think we need to have a parade.
And a prayer meeting.
I'm not kidding. We need to have something that lets the county know how.
So yes, technically he's gonna be out of his contract. It was a misunderstanding on their part. I brought it to his attention. It was one of them moments. But he's all hands on deck. They've had a great month this month. They're out of the river. They're up above where they can work. I just let it ride. Now, if he pulls off and goes somewhere else and doesn't finish, that's a different story. But as long as he's working to finish, I'd say let him go. More high, Simley. At state aid, I'm looking for an email any minute to advertise that job. And that is a state aid project. I bounced this back and forth a few times. I'd like a board order to advertise more high when we get that state aid approved.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams, to advertise more high the state aid project. That's one that we've already approved.
It's on that status of funds, actually, program.
All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Osborne Road Bridge, David's working on that. It'll go to state aid this week. I think I mentioned to you, we made a little change in that to stay off the railroad in there so we didn't get involved in it. Crawford Bridge, David, you think July? Within the Crawford Bridge. Sometime in July. And believe it or not, that's all I got.
Sturgis West Point.
Sturgis West Point, traffic is using the bridge now. Not supposed to be, and they are. And as soon as it gets dry enough that they can get the required gravel and clay gravel and get the road bed set up, those guys will be out there.
It should be dry.
No, it's not dry. The ground is wet. right now.
It is. Y'all think it's dry when it stops raining, but it's a long way.
It is not,
It is not dry.
there's water standing on top of hills right now, and
We gotta go get some towels and
Yeah.
dry that out.
I wasn't exaggerating. Burns dirt beside the deliver gravel on that job the other day and turned transport over on the Clifton, trying to get that thing.
That's
all I got.
Long way.
Yeah. What is the possibility of not using those contingency funds? Not using.
If nothing creeps up and shows its head on a job that we don't know about, those contingencies will not be used.
Will not be used.
Yeah, they're not a bid item, it's just money. I'm saying on this particular job, we better have a little extra money
The extra money, understand.
in case.
Your engineering costs are gonna be deducted, from not using those funds, because this is based on the contingency dollars too.
No,
10%.
our engineering fees, if you do the math, is based on the cost of construction. It's
Not
not,
the contingency money.
the only way the engineering fee changes is if you add to the scope of work and we design or add to. If I had a chip seal job and you decide you want to overlay it, then my fee goes up with those. That's the
Okay.
cost of the job. My fee is based on the cost of the job. Okay?
Mr. Pritchard, we certainly appreciate all the effort that you all have put into getting this information from the board. Thank you, David. What's the young man's name?
Willis Owen.
Willis Owen.
He's the one that's
Thank you,
gonna
Mr. Owen.
He's the one that's gonna take the blame for blackjack.
All right, well, thank you all for all the hard work that you
Good job.
do.
I rarely pick people out. I'm gonna tell you, Mr. Owen came to me 11 years ago, out of Virginia, North Carolina area up in there.
I knew when it came.
Been a great hand, great hand.
Good job, good job.
Thank you,
Need a
Mr.
motion?
Collins, too.
Need
Appreciate
a
it, Mr.
motion?
Collins.
A motion.
Okay, motion by Supervisor, Little, second by Supervisor Trainer, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
And that's 4-0.
All right, next we got our Chief Maurice Johnson.
So all him wants to go, somebody think you all might have got a list of our donations that was made to Dr. County Sheriff from over the past year.
Motion for approval?
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Little, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
That is all.
All right, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Yep.
Okay, next we got, our chapter clerk, Ms. Livingston.
We did have a CD bid this month, and it's for a 90-day CD bid, and Guarantee Bank got it again at 4.26%.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
That's all I have.
Next, we've got our county administrator, Mr. Carpenter.
Good morning.
I'm sorry, before you go, so we don't forget it, we should have nailed down a work shop date, yeah, if you can catch it. So we can nail down a workshop date with our county engineer. Completely forgot it.
This will be gone all this week and we have that time to.
I know you like, I'm down to there.
Yeah.
Real big.
Why don't y'all put it on the office and win the money?
Was that a shock? You got more needs than you do money, for sure.
And I totally
That's
agree with you on the line, because I have to go to my mom's.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Mr. Pritchard, we need to try to nail down a workshop date. We talked about a lot of different, things here, but we need a workshop.
Good deal.
What's available? What's your availability?
Easiest way for me to tell you is when I can't. Can't do tomorrow. I'll be at Ole Miss. And I can't do the 9th, 10th, and 11th, and that's.
We'll be out that
week.
Coach.
That, yeah, Yeah.
So about any other time, I think I can work.
So sometime the week of the 23rd then.
I would think so.
Okay. So let's do that motion while we got that.
So,
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little to set our recess meeting for the 23rd of June at 9 a.m. Do you all want to come back what's your availability that afternoon?
We'll make ourselves available.
Okay.
Anytime y'all want.
Let's set the workshop at 1 o'clock if that's okay with everybody for that same day.
Is it easier to do it at your place or here?
I just shouldn't be here.
Okay. Right here at 1 o'clock workshop for June 23rd.
if our meeting agenda is like, we'll reach out and come back sooner. I mean, we
We can play it by ear. Alright,
Send me that note.
alright, sounds good.
And I'm assuming we're gonna talk roads and bridges, all the above.
All of the above.
Everything.
Thank you, Mr. Pritchett.
Well, now that I'm not held in contempt of court for yelling outside of the courtroom,
I got in trouble there.
I'm just happy to have made it back up the stairs. I got a few things, shouldn't take too long. If you had an opportunity to review your packet, in your packet is a couple of letters from Ron Thornton, Boys and Girls Club. He's applying for a TANF grant.
make a motion, we issue those letters.
I said,
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Daryl and I have been studying on this cooling tower for Chancery Court building since I got here. We've talked to so many different subject matter experts on this thing. We got a price to completely redo the air handling system, whole 9 yards, for $2.3 million. I didn't bring that to you. What we kind of landed on was we're gonna replace that chilling tower and the boiler. Now, I'm not bringing the boiler to you yet. This is just for the chiller tower. Looking at $126,000 to replace that. That thing is at end of life. We're keeping our fingers crossed, hoping we can make it through the summer.
Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
We'll issue bids on that and probably take care of it in the fall. We're gonna have to time it correctly to keep from shutting down the air.
Thank you and Darryl for working on it.
I told Daryl he couldn't retire till he got this
There you
done.
go.
Let's see. The other item is, we've had some conversations about trying to move to a larger boardroom. We've looked over there at the small courtroom. I've spoken with Judge Ungle over there. We want to make it a dual purpose location where they can hold court and we can hold board meetings in there. If you look around, you'll see that these things are dated. We've actually got stuff peeling up around the window sill. So along with that, and I'll bring it to you separately, Daryl's gonna do some work in here and we're gonna turn this into a smaller conference room, just maybe some classroom space, that kind of thing. Then we're gonna share space next door with the Chancery Court.
What happens if we have a board meeting and I got 2 judges on the bench?
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out.
You can still come back here,
We could, yeah.
receive on your conference room.
So you need a motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
That was just a question that the judges asked, so that's what I asked.
Well, and I don't necessarily, we'll talk.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
won't
I'm
get
fine
into
with it, that was just a question that was brought to my attention, so, but that was, I think we'll be fine.
I think that repair work will be done, renovation, I thought it was to get some renovation done to this office also.
Daryl and I have spoken about it. He's getting some prices right now. We are gonna take the wall coverings off of this room as well, put up some new lighting, do some painting, do some new carpet, that kind of thing for this room too. But I hadn't got those prices yet.
How old are these chairs? You
65.
65 years old?
No, they were brought
born
in
in
in 65.
Bought in 65, okay,
They close.
they're older than me, which
The money was good.
Yeah.
These chairs back here not far behind.
No. Neither.
it's impressive they've lasted this long, to be honest with you.
They made them good back then.
They did.
Let's see, where am I?
If these seats get tall for me.
On May 28th.
On May the 28th, Marvell and Patty and I attended a meeting with the city of Starkville and Mississippi State University trying to talk about ambulance services. We've had an opportunity to.
Our emergency manager was in that.
Yeah, emergency manager was there, our fire coordinator was there, Mississippi State had representatives from their student health and the athletic department and their student housing there. Basically, I just wanted to tell you that we had the meeting. The consensus at the end of the meeting is we all agreed that consolidated ambulance services would be in the best interest of all three stakeholders. We discussed possibly setting up an emergency service district for the entire county. And then the way to govern that would be to provide some apportioned representation onto that council that would oversee the emergency services district. And then they would host the RFP for ambulance services. Just wanted to let you know that meeting had taken place. And in a couple of weeks, maybe 3, we're going to reconvene that group and try and put together a way forward on how we're going to handle ambulance services in light of the sale of Octavia
You
County.
drafted this background on ambulance services. You drafted this idea. That's phenomenal. If you hadn't read through that, and you go back, I've just had an impressive work reading through it. I've forgotten some of the particulars.
Well, and I wasn't here for it, so I was trying to educate myself on all of it.
Well, I think you did a phenomenal job on that.
But somewhere gonna have to be delayed because someone already under some contract.
Yes, sir, that's correct. So the Midstat contract ends June 30th, but they will have to renew that because the sale won't be completed by that point. Pafford ends, I think, next June the 30th, so June 30th of 2026. So we still got a lot of time, but now's the time to figure out what we're gonna try and move to in order to maintain these services countywide.
So the big thing in that is that your city Baptist is gonna have, I was kind of talking to him the other day, I was saying Baptist at part, but he says not necessarily Southern Baptist, is saying whatever works best for the community is what they're on board with.
That's right.
You're talking about creating an EMS district and that board will send out RFPs.
Yes, and Baptist will be able to compete for it, so would Pafford, so would Midstat.
And Baptist is okay with that?
Hadn't spoken with Baptist, I don't think they got a choice. Now, what Baptist would do, they've already agreed to take over the county services upon purchase.
Right.
So they would see us through until we could establish this district and get this bid lit, at which point that would determine the way forward.
Because we didn't, the city did not say they were, gonna do it, they're waiting to see. They did not say that they were going to join the group.
They did not commit.
So he's just saying, if everything worked out, they want to do this committee, because the city did not commit to do that.
And we can't make, in other words, they can have their own service inside the city limits. That's entirely up to them. But if we could join together as 3 stakeholders for the betterment of all involved, then I think that's the way forward.
That's more effective.
But I was thinking that it's any which way it went, we wanted Baptist to, like we talked about.
Come back to see us, Ms. Fox.
To take over.
Come back to see us.
All right.
So Midstat has contract with hospital.
With the hospital, yes,
But
sir.
Baptist will take that contract.
But Baptist is not asking for something, right?
Right.
They
So
said,
it could, right, because the Midstat can't operate without something. But Baptist can.
well, Baptist will have to cover for the subsidy.
And that's.
That's right, and
So why
that,
would we want to enter into another 2-year contract with Midstat? Just do it up until.
so it's got a 90-day out clause.
Oh,
So it'll kind of be on Baptist, in other words, take that contract, keep the services going. If they wanted to take the 90-day out and bring in their ambulance provider, then, you know, I think we would be good with that.
That's what it says.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we on the same page. Because we were trying to eliminate the county liability, the county money, because Packard does not pay the city anything. I mean, the city doesn't pay them anything. And they, you know, supply the fire trucks and, you know, different things, that's part of their bid. But we as the county are supplementing all this other, and that would kind of free up some of our money if we didn't have to do that.
Any action needed on it? Just
No, it was just a report, unless y'all needed to acknowledge it or something.
Thank y'all for attending that meeting.
Oh, absolutely.
Item number 5, Toby Sanford from the Golden Triangle Planning and Development District, who manages our road database, is requesting to establish 3 911 roads. I put in your packet his description and then some maps that he had provided. I will try to entertain any questions if you have any.
This is just an update to the 911 roads.
He would be adding 3 911 roads to the list.
So we need an order.
Yeah, we're gonna need an order
For each one?
well.
We can put them in, we can put all 3 names in one order.
Yes.
Those are not the names, though.
That's the ones that
I see
he's
the ground-
recommending, yes,
The
sir.
Ground road, that's the name of the road it's gonna be, but,
You got Tilly
Tab.
Lane and Tab.
Tab,
Tilly
Okay.
and Tab.
Tab.
Tab,
As long as we don't have a road
Tilly.
already,
and then he sent a third one in separately that he was recommending to be named Graham.
yeah.
He said it's in the city.
As long as we don't have a road already named one of those, I'm gonna motion that we approve those names, those roads. And I'm
I'm just,
sure he have already checked to see whether or not there's something.
He intimated that we did not have names.
Yeah.
Tilly, Tab, and Graham.
Tilly Lane, Tab Lane, and Graham Road.
I wanted to ask, just for my own personal information, because I don't know, what does that mean to the county besides, like, if it's a 911 road, it just means like emergency people, you know how to get out there.
That's all
We
it
still
is.
don't have any
We don't.
Yeah.
money obligations.
It's not a registered road, county road, it's just, that was put in place back maybe somewhere 2010, that to identify for emergency managers and quick response. Those roads were named and given an address so that they could punch it in.
Because I knew on one of them, it said it had 5 houses, on it already, they was planning on, putting more, so I was just,
I think the criteria was if there's 3 or more residents on any stretch of, then it has to become a 911.
We repair the covered areas.
so I think,
As far as we go is to repair the covered areas.
We have a motion.
We got a motion, Williams motioned it, but we need a second.
Second by Supervisor Carver. Any other questions? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 6 is a reporting item. I wanted to make the board aware that budget worksheets and guidance have been provided to all department heads with spent the 1 July to submit their budget request. I just provided you a copy of that letter that was sent out to the department heads.
One thing I would say about that is I would encourage the department heads to shoot for stars and land on the moon kind. Sometimes I see people come in and go, oh, we're good, we don't need anything. It's not that they're going to be granted all these things, but ask them if they've got any big 3 to 5 year plans. So it helps us plan for the next 2 or 3 year budget cycle, even though they're not going to do what they see coming. They need to ask now for next, it just helps us plan better.
I'm sure you won't have any trouble with
Yeah, you have no trouble.
request.
You have no trouble.
Listen, he's already down
We
there.
have no trouble with some departments asking.
the 911, sheriff department, we got about 3 million already right now.
Item number 7 is a list of invoices that I'm submitting for payment. Please note that APAC and Pritchard Engineering for Maven Sturgis Road are on this list.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Carver. Any other discussion?
I would like to let the county engineer know that anytime we're gonna pay big payments to have him on board, like, not by acting or design, but he wasn't here last time. We may have questions on, we had some questions and he wasn't here on Main Street, so make sure he's here, not for every board meeting, but this is the pay.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion?
I will do my best.
All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 8 is credit card statement.
Motion by Supervisor Carver, second by Supervisor, Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 9, payroll changes. Hold on, slow down. Victor brought this one to me this morning when he came to the meeting. He wanted to put on there for consideration and approval.
This is an addition to payroll change.
Yes, sir, one addition.
You got it.
Motion to approve payroll change. Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Carver. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Did you get one, Sharon?
I did.
I request approval of the April claim docket totaling $30 million, which includes the $24 million that Sharon mentioned, which was paid out to deposit into that CD.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any other discussions? All in favor? Motion passes. I remember when we wasn't getting nothing for the CD.
No, and we didn't think we were gonna get that interest rate.
That's a good interest rate.
They did come back and I think
I
they beat it
remember
the
before
last
I
time.
became comptroller, y'all were not getting.
We wasn't getting
No.
nothing.
No, I'm just kidding.
You weren't getting
I'm
this.
just kidding.
He's making it happen. Okay, if you're gonna bid, now you better bid it right.
There you go. You got
But I will say,
Have
we
a
don't
little.
never have any trouble with Guarantee Bank. They win it every time.
Especially since we changed it to 90 days instead of that 1 month. That helped a lot.
I saw Mr. Sammy Slaughter at the Memorial Day thing, and he was lamenting, they were the only ones that bid. So I think he was wishing he'd bid a little less. But I told him we really appreciate
Get in
it.
trouble.
We're not gonna tell them anything else.
Did we get a motion to pay the claim?
We did.
I got a couple more items that are kind of walk-ons that I didn't include. Last meeting, this board approved for us to enter into an agreement with Google Workspace in order to upgrade the email and app, all of the apps that we use in order to get a subscription from them. One of the items that was talked about was how to pay for that thing. In order to get that thing, we have to either do an ACH or put it on a credit card. What I'd like is for this board to allow me to get another credit card. What we do is we get it through Cadence Bank. It would be tied into our credit card, but it would have a separate credit limit. And that way we don't use the credit limit that we use to travel on and run the risk of using both of them up. Also, I can keep it separated that way. Google would bill to that credit card. If for some reason they billed us incorrectly, I'd have an opportunity to dispute that charge before paying it. And it's just a better way to handle it, I think.
That's $3,000.
Yeah, something like that. That's right. We put about a $3,000 or maybe a little bit more limit on there to handle the subscription, and that's all that we would charge to it. And in the future, if we have any more subscriptions that require to be paid this way, we may add some to it, but I'd put that before the board for you.
Need a motion?
We'll approve credit card with $5,000 limit.
Motion by Supervisor Carver, second by Supervisor Williams. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
And then last on the list is garbage cans. Supervisor Carver mentioned that we were almost out of garbage cans. I'm not familiar with, I think, what do we get, 80 a year?
No, the contract says 600, I think it's 600 a
Oh,
year.
600.
We had it up about 5 or 6 years ago, we were getting less, but our contract says that we're to get 600 cans a year. So if we want to up that, then the cost will probably increase for what
Now,
we.
do they deliver all 600 at one time, or do they space them out?
Well, our road department has been going and getting the load and bringing them and spreading them out at the satellite shops. Sometime I think, I'll go and get a stack sometimes so it's just, but Mary Ann keeps up with the number of cans that we got on hand. And they're ordered every September. It's when they're ordered.
That's my understanding. I was gonna ask y'all, I'm getting a lot more uptick on ones left in roadways getting hit by cars. That happened, y'all getting those? So maybe talk to Mary Ann, make sure those guys get them to, I stop every week and get them half on the line and make sure I get them out of the way. There's 30 left. I mean, I say if we're running on number 600, I know that many houses have probably been built in the last 10 years, so.
So 30 left, what,
That's it, till October.
Not at the main shop.
He said there's 30 left.
30 left
Yeah,
for
I
all
was
of
trying.
us.
So we've got to make an emergency purchase to get us to October, and I think I would buy 800 or whatever. She said there's 60 left. They picked up 30 Friday, and that was it for our whole order for you.
So if we're gonna make it till October, do we want to get another 150?
Need to.
Okay, we need a board order from this board so that Supervisor William and myself can take to the garbage board, executive board, and have Mary Ann order those. I don't know what the cost would be.
125 a piece.
Okay.
And my question is, how, like, if the garbage trucks damage them, because that's what I've been hearing a lot, whether it's, how that works. They have a camera on their truck. So they know, they say they got their garbage truck hit. Does the Golden Triangle pay for those that got hit? Or does the county take the hit on all of it? How does that work?
Sometimes, and it's a little, this is sort of what happens sometimes, especially out on the 4-lane. They'll take them off and set them next to the road, and those 18-wheelers will come along, suck them into the road, and they'll get hit. Also, and not taking up, but there's a lot of turnover in that garbage with temp workers. They're having to get temp workers. It's not the sexiest job in the world riding the back of that garbage truck. So whenever they get a good one, they do their best to try to hang on to them. But it's a lot of turnover, temp workers coming in and staying, So a lot of that happens. Another thing that happens is that truck is pretty rough when it raises that can, and that puts a lot of wear and tear. If they don't get it all out, then you get complaints that they leaving garbage in, they're not emptying my garbage can good. So it's sort of a catch-22 in here. But Mary Ann and Benny both, they do everything they can to try. But sometimes I get complaints about the tops being left over. They won't, then you get these little old ladies after it's rained, got this much water in the garbage can, they can't handle it getting it back. So, it's a constant battle. But Benny and Mary Ann do the best they can to try to keep good help when they get it, and try to, do the best to address,
To track that, to track that would be impossible. I mean, when it's all said and done, it would be impossible. And to his point, it ain't the sexiest job in the world, it's just hard.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, I know like we're talking about that increase, in the, the bills and stuff. I just didn't know if we were taking enough to cover all of our expenses, that we're paying, because, I mean, that $125 garbage can, we got 600 of them, now we're gonna get another 150, I mean, you're looking at 750 garbage cans times 125, that's a lot of money.
Y'all have supplemented that bill, I've looked into this a few years ago when y'all asked me to look at it. We supplement that bill for the people of this county, and rightfully so, that's part of what we've provided, but just so y'all are aware, we've supplemented that for years. The money that we are paying is probably a lot less than what other counties are paying.
It really is. Supervisor, we can tell you, we've had that conversation, and we, to get your garbage picked up once a week at the end of your driveway and not have to worry about it, it's a pretty good deal, that we get.
We approved a rate increase. We had to really have that rate increase.
I'm supposed to have a proposal or a report back to you guys by the recess meeting in June.
It's $13.
It's currently $13 is what we charge. Now, they charge us $11 and change. I reported it last meeting, I can't remember.
I would be in support of $15. And the reason is, you go from 600 cans to 800, you go from 75,000 to 100,000. It's just math, but I don't know how we're gonna get to the summer if we order only 150. I would say order 200 because
it's cheaper to order more. That is just a question. I don't know the answer.
Mary Ann would have to answer that one because I don't know.
I think part of the problem is these cans are real old. They've been out there for a long time. And they tearing up, they cracking, and anything
well,
else.
Now I've got a whole bunch of them that I've replaced again just since I've been here.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, I'm just saying, in the last year and a half, somebody's got 2 cans.
Well,
They should have 2 cans.
I know. And then sometimes we go and look and pick about 3 or 4 garbage cans sitting out there for them to pick up. And so I'm just.
And some of these cans, we try to repair them, put new tops on them, new wheels on them, and let them go. But those old cans got that crossbar that's breaking off and coming out of it. And I don't know, Mr. President, whether that crossbar help them to help the truck to pick it up off, whether or not they don't have the crossbar, they have to actually pick those cans up themselves.
They would if the crossbar is not there.
Yeah, they got it now. That's a big improvement. That those crossbars are on that now, they're on that stay. They're not gonna come out like the old can. Like the old cans do. So some of these cans just need to be replaced too. We try to repair as many of them as we can.
Now, Mary Ann does, she ordered replacement parts, wheels, axles, maybe even lids, I'm not sure. But some can be repaired, some can't. And there's actually some individuals that they call me up and say, well, I've repaired this can many times. They put their own, galvanized bar and put the drill.
Tied stuff up and stuff, so they say, I just don't want this can anymore.
Yeah.
I want a new can.
Need a new one now. But to Supervisor Carver's point, I guess we need to get with Mayor Ann. This board needs to go ahead and make a motion if we want to order some extra ones and try to get them here to last us till the new shipment comes in.
We do 200?
And 200 more?
200.
Okay.
Get us to some.
So do we order 200 more and then increase the allocated amount? Or do we, okay.
Yeah,
we talking,
that's not taking care of us, just what we order now is not enough, it's saying per year I'm talking about.
Okay. So we're talking pretty much 1,000 cans for this next
I know,
order.
since been on board 2 years, I know 150 homes, new construction homes that have been constructed between all the districts, I would say that's a conservative number, so.
Yeah.
It's growing, this place is growing, and they're paying for it, they're paying them. And I'm like you, these people call, I've had a can for 10 years, first thing I do is I'm bringing you one, you've earned another one.
You earned another one, and for 10 years or so.
Yeah.
So how long you had?
you had your.
I don't know. I've had mine for a long time.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer. I need a second by Supervisor Carver that we order another 200 cans, from the solid waste department. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Let me make sure, since we got that carried, it's okay? Mr.
Yeah.
I wanna make sure I understand, if that crossbar is not there, it seems like they have to pick that can up themselves.
There's no
They
way.
do.
That's right.
Yeah, they do,
Yeah.
they would. Because they roll it up to this little device that hooks the crossbar
Right.
and dumps the can, so if it's not, then they have to physically.
A lot of these old cans don't have a crossbar.
No, they still can't just hook up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
They don't
that
have
crossbar.
That crossbar helps, but they can still hit that hook up on it and still dump it.
Yeah, they'd have to count, and they can, but they'd have to count assist it a little bit.
Right. And then after you do that for a while though, that little hook part gonna start cracking.
Oh, yeah, you gonna put pressure on the thing.
Yeah, you put pressure on it. So that's what happened too. That is being destroyed. And so they need to be, some of them just need to be replaced because that's gonna damage, they're gonna damage the can.
What we'll need to determine though is the amount of increase we need to go up to if we're gonna increase our allocation and think, if $15 is gonna be suitable
Yeah,
for
we need
that,
to
but
let
we'll
them
have to run the
do a
numbers.
little deep dive on
Yeah,
that.
we'll have to run the numbers and see. But I mean, you might as well get ready. Some people not gonna say a word, but you're gonna get some calls.
But I don't think why don't we think about raising it when we got a major transaction? I mean, that's look. We gotta be looking at a cut.
Oh.
Because you know the little stuff is really what make a lot of difference.
Well, delivering a garbage can
The
goes
little
a long
stuff makes a
way.
lot of difference.
Come on, tell you what.
Just looking at some things, I mean, you know, you got some stuff pending that's gonna help to change the county's projection. I don't think just spend a whole lot of time trying to think about what's gonna raise the garbage bill $1 or $2. Just supplement it. You know we gotta have it. And I think you get better mileage out of that than trying to squeeze another 50 cents or another $1. You know?
Well, my thinking on that is, I mean, that's a service that they got, and we got we're not getting the money from the state right now.
I know that, but
And I don't know what else we're not gonna get.
But that's true. But who else has a major hospital transaction as Lumen other than us? But we finna have some money. We finna have a substantial amount of money. And we're gonna be fussing, fighting over peanuts. We finna have water. So why? I mean,
But that money's not.
I hate to start programming those dollars like
well,
that.
still, but you're gonna have to do something because that's gonna change the whole trajectory of what you do.
I just hate to start programming those dollars.
Because people
We
don't
don't
know.
we don't even
You
have.
don't want to. What now? Y'all got this and y'all got $1 on garbage can. What
But
y'all
we
doing?
got $13 over here in this county, and Lowndes County's already had that hospital thing, and their bill's probably about $6, $7, $8 more than ours.
Well, Lowndes County don't provide the can. I know you want to take the can away.
Some of them, but listen, I wouldn't have a problem paying $16 a month for somebody to come pick my garbage up and get it disposed of, and me not have to worry about this and that. But we've got some things on the table that we'll be discussing. But right now we've got the motion to make that order for 200. Okay, all right.
So we're gonna have to decide because right now Golden Triangle wants us to go up $1 a dime. Well, they going up $1 a dime.
They are.
Yeah.
And that's what I got to come back to you in June, is give you the information you need to decide whether or not we need to.
Let's say there's people that are really, that $2 is a big difference. I mean, that the lowest 10%. Okay, I don't know how you look at the income, socioeconomic. If a lady, I know a lot of older ladies being they don't fix income, been that way for 15 years. I don't know if there's a way we didn't increase theirs and maybe everybody else. I mean, 90% of people probably won't care. If there's 10%, maybe a big deal. So,
Now, there are people out there that are not paying, period, though, and there's nothing we can say there's nothing. It's awfully hard to get that money out of it. And I'm not telling y'all what to do. I'm just letting you know that there are people that are doing a very good job of paying their bills and doing what they're supposed to do, but there are quite a few people out there that aren't paying this bill. And all we can do is let Golden Triangle know, and sometimes they'll attach it to the
it's
car
attached
tag
to the
or something like
property
that.
now.
Well,
The
now,
property owners
I
have to
sent you a
pay.
list to do, we've got to do liens and have them recorded in my
No.
office.
And that costs money for us to do all of that. So I'm not saying what you should do. I'm not saying that you shouldn't supplement it.
I do have a question for the board on that. When we do get ready, because, I mean, there's a lot of names that Rob is fixing to have to
And it's
do
expensive.
to record all these liens. Who's gonna pay for it? Because if I record all that, I'm gonna be losing money.
Every time I bring a recording fee up,
I don't charge.
She doesn't charge.
I don't charge the county, but this is a big stack that because Rob's gonna have time, because he's gotta type them up, and then he's gotta bring them to me to record them. Who do we send a bill to Golden Triangle for that? How do we handle that?
Golden Triangle's not gonna.
They're not gonna pay that.
Just saying, it's frankly our bill.
It's our job to collect. I mean,
We just asked them, we contracted them to get that money for us, and they can only do so much.
well, I
Maybe
mean,
this is a conversation, once you get your information and you understand how much this is gonna cost. My knee-jerk here is, y'all have been so good to this county and supplementing this. If you want to continue it, I want you to make certain that we're getting, y'all as a board, getting credit for that supplementation. But there are people out there that today are not paying, and to make matters even worse, even though it goes to property, some of these properties are in what I call, they're family-owned properties, and it's, somebody died 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
They still building that.
Yes, sir.
That
You're
person
there.
that's dead.
And it's an air property situation, and it's just impossible to track it.
And the children are debating about who's gonna pay it.
Yes, you're there.
But their garbage is still getting picked up,
The garbage is still
and they
getting
still living there.
That person living there, yeah. But
Or
there's
somebody is living there, let me phrase it that way.
Yeah. And maybe one or two people living on the same property, or 2 or 3 people living on that property. So they're debating about you need to pay it, I need to pay it.
Mhm.
And the person that's more responsible gonna probably go ahead and try to pay the whole thing. And then you got 2 more that just riding for services.
Mr. Joe's got it exactly right.
Yeah, I deal with it.
well, you know,
Put a hole,
we wouldn't
you catch
need.
somebody up in that hole on their car tag,
Yeah, I think
and
it's
they'll
better now
start
than
Well,
it's ever
well,
been.
it is.
Yeah, it's better now than it's ever been, but we
But
still
we
got-
wouldn't even be talking about a rate increase if everybody's paying their bill. So, you know, that's sort of catch 22. If we talking about supplementing, for the ones that's paying that bill, and still letting the other ones scot free, and not fulfilling their obligation, you know, we got the 200 garbage cans coming, and is there anything?
I think it's good to supplement those individuals who are in need, I guess. And go back to the
I'm
Bible.
afraid we gonna open up a lawsuit.
Well, not only that, but you're gonna have some people that say, you paid John's bill, you need to pay my bill also.
So you see for the water associations, you've seen exactly how they're.
Right, but I don't pay no.
No, I understand.
I lock them down.
I understand.
But yeah, you're right, that's an issue. I wish we could supplement those individuals who are in need of help. Or someone really are in need.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's a problem, I'll be the first to tell you. I don't know, I've been thinking about this for years and I still don't have a real good answer.
Yeah. Now, we, at one time, Mr. President, you might remember, we were supposed to help identify those houses that were not paying. And they gave us a list of what they had. on each road. And then we looked at that list and say, well, 25, 26 is not on the list. So 25, 26 is not paying a garbage fee. But then we came back and say that's not our responsibility as supervisor. We gave that responsibility back to go to Triangle Plan and Development and say, really, this is your responsibility to go over that list and see who's paying and who's not paying. So I don't know what's the best way to do that now. Because everybody really needs to pay. And Mr. President said that if everybody was paying, we might not have to go up on the cost of the collection.
What happened is Golden Triangle is now verifying addresses to try and help ensure. But remember, the way we had it set up at first, well, it was on the books the way we're doing it now, but we just deviated from it. But we were relying upon the resident, whomever was living there, to pay that garbage bill. And so a person might live there for 3 years and not pay a garbage bill in a rent house, and then up and leave and go to another state and leave the garbage bill. So what we did was we went back to attaching it to the property owner. Now it's the property owner's responsibility to make sure that that bill is being paid, even if they have to increase the rent amount by $13 to the renter. So that's worked pretty good, but we still got huge garbage bills out there that's not being paid. So I mean, listen, I get it, but the board has, remember, we met down at Golden Triangle and we put some things in place to help in but so you still got the service, you know. So it's and it's, you know, it's like, well, I've had a couple requests. My garbage can stinks. I need a new garbage can. Well, I pay my bill. I should get a new garbage can. I have to explain to them, listen, you're just paying for the service. All County is paying for the can. You're not paying for the can. So, you know, it's a lot involved. But we got 200 cans coming, and we.
I would say this, I might have to say one. Since I can use my move to the board card, where does it become the responsibility of the supervisors to take the cans out? Did it just not work well for call Mary Ann every time you have a request? Or?
I think that's something just sort of evolved per supervisor. You know.
Well, part of that is pulling up in somebody's yard and as a politician, I'll use me for this example, pulling up and giving them $125 can.
No,
that's a sweet deal because they've been waiting on that can, and a lot of those people appreciate that. So I'm saying that from that perspective.
I just didn't know where it came.
It's better than having a card saying vote for me.
Yeah, I usually just keep one about.
That's exactly right.
Well, yeah, but they called you and you got to do it.
I did.
So they know who got the gun.
Yeah.
And they'll remember that.
And I'm fine with that.
Anything else from my county administrator? Anything else?
Your questions, that concludes my report.
I just have one. Are you having problems sending me an email on my county, email?
I don't think so.
Communication
On the county phone. And see what has happened. And I've been trying to get that. You had communicated to me that you wanted text messages sent to another, to the county phone. And what I think has happened is there's so many different distribution lists out there now. At one time I had both phone numbers in there, and somehow that one got on the distribution list.
I may have messed you up on this, and I may need to get mine straightened out too, because I know what you're talking about because I've done the same thing. We may need to make certain.
I've been trying to do better, Mr. Joe, but these distribution lists have already kind of got a life of their own, and
I may have screwed you up on that.
I don't mind getting communication on both of them, but I certainly want communication on my county.
I've been really trying to pay attention to that.
Okay.
even to the point that I deleted your personal one out of my contacts, but that still don't mean that the phone doesn't remember that your old number, it tries to help you so much that it ends up not helping you.
By the end of this month, we hope to have all that solved.
Will that also solve the problem? Because I actually sometimes get emails on the phone that doesn't come to my laptop. Thank you, sir. All right, do we need a motion to? Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Carter. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. We've already set the recess meeting. We'll start over here to the left, District 4. Anything coming out?
I think we've discussed it all.
Okay. District 1.
Say about the Morgantown Bridge, if you wanna do something to line that up, I think that would be a good, restoration of information. Second thing, Minnie Fox mentioned something cooking, what does she do?
Each year in September, I think it is, she has this huge gathering. She cooking, all the county officials come and eat and I'm gonna tell you, you miss it. You miss some good evenings. And be in trouble,
It's
yeah.
always the Friday before Labor Day.
Oh, yeah.
So every supervisor needs to contribute to the payment of the law. Okay?
You still on
I
camera?
take drinks and stuff out there, so what she tells me to bring, I bring.
Yeah, I'm telling you. District 2.
Yeah, I know you all was really excited about the rate of interest return from guarantee. But NACO has a program out there, cash Best 3+1. I sent some information to Mr. Carter. I think I sent some to them. And I would like for us, whenever we get some time, to look at a presentation from them, because I think we're leaving a lot of funding on the table, because we're excited about guarantee, but I think there's some other banks out there that would do significantly more, and we can make a lot more money with our money. And this program is sponsored through NACO, so probably, after the 23rd or 1st of July, whatever, we may want to give opportunity to get them to do a little presentation to it. They can either do it virtually or maybe even send someone down. But I think it's a good program.
Because I know
Look
they
at some of the
sends out,
testimonials from some of those.
sends out an email to all the local banks, but if we could get other banks, that would be. But the only thing is, how would we go to sign the paperwork?
Well, NACO would facilitate all of it. They got,
they'll
this is
do
through
it.
NACO, this program through NACO. They can help you do all this. So it's hey, you talk about substantial. I know we talk about raising garbage fees and some other stuff. So, but I think we just historically we've been always. We've always taken what the banks have given us, but it's going to be very competitive out there.
Yeah.
But I think we just need to widen our scope of this.
I'll
send you the email.
Send me maybe we can do it, get them here at the first board meeting in July. Yeah.
This is a NACO sponsored.
Okay, send us the information,
That's why
yeah.
I've been taking all the time. We can get greater interest on the return for $1,000.
Yeah, because I watched the video, where other people are making money on other counties.
Well, a lot of the banks don't do that. Do they? It's just guaranteed that normally bids, and we even have our depository at Bank First, and none of them. So, yeah.
But that's all I have. That's great.
There's a possibility of them going down or going up.
Who?
Deposit guarantee. Deposit guarantee.
Not deposit guarantee, guarantee bank.
Bank, yeah.
Guarantee bank.
Yeah, that's the new one. Mr. Small.
Yes, Sammy Slaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they've always won our.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
They've always
piggyback
had,
off of
they're the only ones that really have. And they did good.
Good bank first.
No possibility of going down.
We have
It can be. Yeah.
we got a good interest rate on our depository fee, on our depository accounts.
Yeah,
So
so
they
that's
have
good.
to outbid 3.5%.
And there's something to be said for local support of our community, thing from the bank.
And they'll say, well, you got it, and I call cell phones and everything, but they don't need it. And then they'll come around and ask. Yeah.
I think it's why Bank First does it, because they already have this interest rate on our.
Anything coming out of District 5?
Okay.
I don't have like one thing. Board attorney, I've got.
I'm good, nothing, we've been here plenty long enough, nothing that I've got is time sensitive for y'all to deal with.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
our fire coordinator does have a walk
Okay.
on it. and
Okay.
It's probably my fault that I left it.
Okay,
off
I'm sorry, I would have been got you.
He
I'm sorry.
accused me, but I don't know if he, I
Okay.
hadn't decided whether he's correct or not.
It is a little bit of a time sensitive ordeal. We're applying for a grant through Homeland Security, a $30,000 grant for radios. And we need to get that paperwork in, and if I could get the board approval for me permission to apply for that grant. It's only 75-25, I do have the money, we're good to go.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Homeland Security grant, 75-25,
How much is it?
30 grand,
Oh, I see what it is.
Only-
I put this.
30,000.
Only
I ain't doing an answer that.
Only thing I've got is had a wonderful Memorial Day program out in front of the courthouse on Memorial Day, and I wanted to commend our county administrator for getting everything together and working hard to make sure we had PA systems and courthouses and all of that good stuff. So thank you, Mr. Carpenter, for all your hard work. We really had a wonderful, touching, moving Memorial Day celebration. Sure did. That's all I've got. If nothing else, we need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Supervisor.
Recess to the 23rd.
Oh, we've already done that.
Yeah, we've done that. Motion by, second by Supervisor Trainer, all in favor. Motion passes unanimously.